Well, hello, and welcome back again to the News Project Live on Friday, April 16th. I'm Andrew McKeever, the news director at GNAT-TV's News Project, and it's my pleasure to be with you again for our little weekly wrap up of some of the stories we've been following or keeping track of. Going to start with one locally here. Many of you have already, I'm sure, are aware that the former music hall or opera house, as it's sometimes called, on Union Street in Manchester Village, demolition work got underway earlier this week on Wednesday, I believe, and pretty much done by now. We're going to have a bit of a news segment to follow, ready sometime next week. But anyway, as many of you know, it was a fairly historic building. It was built in 1868 by Franklin Orvis, who was the owner of the Equinox Hotel at the time. The idea was to have an entertainment venue for his hotel guests and also local townsfolk. And um, yeah, social, there were dances, concerts, theatrical presentations, speeches given there. Um, there was on the second floor. There used to be a stage and seating for about 500 or so people. And then President William Howard Taft in 1912, October of 1912. So he's probably making an election year swing through the area. We gave a speech there. It wasn't long after that, though, that the use of the building stopped being used for those dances and concerts. It was converted into a bowling alley, and there was also a casino as well for a while. But anyway, and more recently, and by that I mean 50, 60, 70 years ago, it was used for employee housing at for the folks who worked at the Equinox. Basically, by the 1970s, it had stopped even being used for that. It was mainly just used for storage at that time. But anyway, been unoccupied for the past 50 years at least, and had really fallen on hard times. So, um, there were a couple of attempts made to kind of rehabilitate the building. The numbers just didn't work out. That would have been a lot of money and an uncertain future. So anyway, it's going to now, once the debris is cleared away, going to be grassed over. It's going to be a sort of little grassy area or a grass lawn. There was some thought that it might be turned into an extension of the parking area behind there, but that won't be happening. It will instead become like sort of a little grassy area. So anyway, that long running story now comes to basically an end. Um, Meanwhile, the Manchester Select Board meeting on Tuesday had a couple of interesting items. Saw the return of the Bourne Brook Echo Retreat project on Benson Road on the east side of town there, just the other side of the highway overpass. Um, Many of you will remember this past summer, that was a very frequently discussed item at Development Review Board and also Select Board meetings. Ideas for the developer there wants to put up a 46, I believe it's 46 units, sort of an eco retreat as it's called. And they've received a permit from the Development Review Board in Manchester. The project is currently under Act 250 review, but the town would like to upgrade Benson Road, the road that runs off of East Manchester Road and then connects into where this hotel would be built. Right now, it's a dirt road. Town would like to pave it and widen it. Cost is reckoned to be around $90,000. If the project is approved, the developer would go forward and pay for the project. So it's not going to come out of the town treasury. But many of the local area residents who have expressed concerns in the past about the project were back to express more concerns about the idea of paving the road. And so I'm sure that's a to be continued discussion. There has been no final agreement set yet between the developer and the town on the terms and conditions of how the paving will be done. So still a bit of an open subject. That may, like I said, may well be back for more discussion as we go forward. The other interesting thing that came up at the select board meeting was that summer events are coming back. Some of those really fun things that we all remember from bygone years are going to be back on the calendar. And now that the state and the governor have issued their new Vermont Forward Plan, as they call it, it's a three-step process to kind of govern the reopening of the state. As we go forward to the 4th of July. And it's a phased in kind of thing where it's step two, which I believe is supposed to kick in around May 1st. That will allow for outdoor events of up to 300 people that can be held once. 50 to 60% of all Vermonters are vaccinated, and 60 to 70% of all Vermonters 16 years old and older have received at least one dose of the COVID vaccine. Right now, we're currently at the 51% mark, so we're getting pretty close. And state officials expect that we'll hit that 60% threshold by the 1st of May. And then when we get to step three, that'll kick in when we have 70 to 85% of all Vermonters who've received at least one dose of the vaccine. And at that point, outdoor gatherings of up to 900 people would be allowed. And if further progress keeps on going, all restrictions on indoor and outdoor gatherings would be lifted by the 4th of July. So with that guidance kind of in mind, a couple of events are being proposed. First one would be May 28th to 31st, probably Memorial Day weekend. That would be a sidewalk sale weekend where vendors, store owners, and vendors could set up shop on the sidewalk. In June, a number of soccer games being planned for the Applejack Field. There's let's see, several in the June 6th, June 11th, June 12th, June 16th and 18th, June 19th, June 23rd, and 28th. Soccer games set for the stadium there. And then in July, once we get past that, well, the 4th of July, of course, would be return of the fireworks. Rain date was July 5th, but that would return. And then a wonderful announcement. Many of us missed an awful lot last year. The outdoor concerts on the green, scheduled for July 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th. Those are Wednesdays. And then in August, August 4th, August 11th, August 18th, and August 25th. So total of 8 concerts on the green planned for. Then on July 30th, the first of 2 street fairs in Manchester, one on July 30th, and the next one would be on August 27th. Maple Leaf Half Marathon returns on September 11th, and the Manchester Fall Art and Craft Festival would be October 1st to October 3rd. So, assuming things keep going in the right direction, we can look forward to that, and boy, won't that be fun. Can't wait for those concerts on the green to return. I really missed them this past year. Anyway, let's see what else. Okay, so yeah, as long as the vaccination rate keeps on going, and we keep those get those percentages up there to that 70 to 85% range, we should be in pretty good shape for all of that. And more on vaccines in just a moment, but just wanted to bring you up to date on what are some of the latest numbers on the COVID front. First of all, 56% of people in Bennington County have been vaccinated so far, so we're actually one of the leaders in the state in that regard. and about 35% of all eligible Vermonters have been fully vaccinated so far. It means you've gotten both shots. Um, so yeah, the COVID update on the health department's website, they're saying 141 new cases compared to 176 as of the day before, and that compared to 100 the prior day before that. So again, kind of seeing that same zigzag pattern going on, up one day, down the next. There were 8 new cases reported out of Benton County, 129 over the past 2 weeks. Over in Windham County, 11 new cases and 111 over the past 2 weeks. All told, since the beginning of the pandemic, Vermont has seen 21,803 total cases and sadly 242 two deaths. As they said today at the governor's press conference, the 7-day average continues to trend slowly downwards, but still got a ways to go here. So, speaking of vaccines, there was a moment ago, but as you all know, I'm sure, the Johnson and Johnson one-shot vaccine has been put on hold for, well, now it's extended to a week from today, Friday the 23rd. State officials are waiting to hear more from the Centers for Disease Control, or CDC, uh, to give them a little more time to test out some of those cases involving blood clotting. And as the expression goes, out of an abundance of caution, excuse me, the J&J vaccine was pulled and put on hold. Um, if you had an appointment with a J&J vaccine lined up, you're going to need to reschedule that because it will. This health department will cancel it, and they're trying to open as many other appointments as possible for the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Um, Again, it's just a pause. It's just trying to check out to see, if there is some kind of tie-in between the vaccine and these blood clots, and if so, what that is. Um, there is more information available on the state's health department website, and gives you some directions on how you can do to reschedule those appointments if you had one that was canceled. Um, Come back to some of more of this in just a moment, but I just wanted to mention also one other thing. Coming back down here to the local area, a couple of towns back earlier this year postponed their town meetings. Um, you normally be held in March, and they postponed them to kind of either allow for an open air setting where you could have everyone together, um, or rather than having sort of a virtual information meeting, uh, like was the case back in March. So we're starting to get into the second round of town meeting season. Win Hall will be having theirs on April 27th at starting at 10 o'clock in the morning over at the town garage. These are again all outdoor events, with one exception I'll mention in a moment. Londonderry will be holding their town meeting on May 1st, starting at 9:30 at Pingree Park. Um, the town of Stratton is going to be having theirs on May 4th, starting at 10 a.m. The location, I believe, is still to be determined, at least according to the town's website. Not fully clear on that. My guess would be probably out there in front of the town hall in their parking area, but that's not fully spelled out yet. And Sandgate, I was mentioning one town would be doing it a little bit differently. They're going to hold an information meeting in Sandgate on May 3rd, starting at 7 p.m. at the town hall. And then following that, the next day, May 4th, with Australian ballot voting from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the town hall. And then we'll finish up with Weston. They'll be having their town meeting on May 25th at the Village Green in front of the Weston Theater there. That'll start at 9 a.m. So anyway, I'd mentioned earlier about the governor's press conference. Basically, he announced that they were going to extend the emergency declaration for another month. It's kind of pretty standard at this point. That gives them the authority to keep issuing guidance and restrictions and so forth. They also announced that starting tomorrow, Saturday, those between the ages of 16 and 18 can register for the vaccines to just to give them a little bit of a head start. Because on Monday, uh, next Monday, that would be what, the 19th. Um, Folks 16 and older can go ahead and register, but they wanted to give the 16 and 17-year-olds a little bit of an earlier opportunity. The idea being to kind of give it one more push towards being able to get more schools kind of back to in-person learning as much as possible. Um, if you are between the ages, if you are 16 or 17, you're going to need parental permission. To just mean a sign off there when you go online. But that's just something to keep in mind. So, Education Secretary Dan French also had an announcement. They want to very much try and get as many schools back to in person as possible. Right now, we're roughly at around 55% of schools in the state are in a hybrid mode, some online, some in person. About 35% or so are in person, and the remainder are going remote, all remote at this point. And like I said, they very much want to get schools back as close to normal as possible between now and just to finish off the end of the year. And he said the guidance for graduation ceremonies will be coming out around the end of the month, but will definitely be falling within the Vermont Forward plan that I mentioned earlier. Well, that'll about do it for today. One last reminder, though, on Saturday, May 1st, Green Up Day is coming along. You may remember last year it had to be postponed and delayed by a month. We didn't have Green Up Day until June last year. But this year, the 51st year of the event, it will be happening on May 1st, closer to its traditional date. So you can check in with someone in your town who's the Green Up Day coordinator. And if you're in the mood to go out there with one of those green bags and pick up some trash or litter along the roadsides in your neighborhood, well, now's your chance. All right, we're going to leave it there for now. For today, hope you have a great weekend coming up. The weather forecast definitely is a little on the shaky side. I don't know why we're getting snow at this point in April, but according to the weather forecast, we are. So, anyhow, have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you right back here next week. In the meantime, I just want to remember to mention, go onto the GNAT website at gnat-tv.org if you want to see some of these stories in a little bit further depth. Okay, have a good one. See you next week.